Amazing. Fantastic. So, Dan, nice to meet you.
Nice to meet you too.
Your results were stellar. So, your pace of aging, which is the gold standard in measuring how fast or how slow you age, above 1.0 means that you are aging too fast. Below 1.0 means that you are aging slower than average, which of course is good. And your
Yep.
most recent test result was a 0.56, which means at that rate, in 10 years, your body would have only aged 5.6 years. So tell me about your background. Before starting this longevity regimen with Novos, what did your lifestyle look like? Were you always generally health conscious?
Well, I wouldn't say I was always generally health conscious. I kind of fluctuated pretty wildly, especially when I was younger. You know, pizzas, subs. One of my regular meals was actually getting two huge subs, and I would just devour them. And that was just a regular thing. But as I started getting older, probably around like 24, 25, I started feeling a little bit creaks and cracks, and I was like, oh, this is not good. I'm aging way too fast. It felt like that. So I started eating more healthy foods, just focusing more on my diet, working out daily. Um, Nothing too crazy at that time. I didn't start taking really anything outside of just eating healthy foods and working out. I will say I always get 8 hours of sleep, 7 to 8 hours. I always get 7 to 8 hours of sleep. Um, but outside of that, I didn't start taking supplements or experimenting with supplements. I never really took anything for a long time, really, outside of Novos. Um, it was I started experimenting probably around 29, 30, and ever since then, I tinker, I dabble in stuff, and I found Novos a little over a year ago now, and I took it at first just to see because I started reading up on Dr. Sinclair. There, he was talking about NMN and all that stuff, and I started really getting interested because of those conversations and the studies that were being done on aging at that time, longevity research piqued my interest, and Novos really stood out just because you guys had articles and nobody else really had articles. Like you guys were doing your own research. So I was like, well, that's a good sign. And I dove right in, both feet.
That's fantastic. I truly love to hear that. So you referenced that you started your journey with Novos last September.
Yep.
So since you've been following the Novos longevity regimen, what lifestyle changes have you made, if any? And then besides taking the Novo supplements, like you've been saying that you've been dabbling, tinkering in supplementation, anything different now in terms of your lifestyle than before when you weren't necessarily prioritizing your longevity?
Yeah. So before Novos, really, it was kind of hit or miss. I would take random stuff, but I started taking some mushroom gummies just so that, I don't like eating mushrooms. I think the texture is disgusting. So, but I know that they have a lot of good health benefits. So having some sort of health gummy felt good. So I take those regularly now as well. And I also try and drink um, dark cocoa, like just cocoa powder with like some honey and some bee pollen, uh, and also shilajit. So after it started taking Novos, I really just went all out with everything that was potentially going to help me out. But Novos has been the one consistent factor over the past, 8 months. Everything else kind of comes and goes. Um, I try and drink the cocoa probably 3 times a week, but it's not consistent. Novos is every day.
I love it. So what about noticeable changes to your body, mind, appearance, etc. Any to share there?
I I will say that I do lumosity training, which is just the easiest brain training that I could find out there. I've been doing that for over a decade, and I have always consistently kind of crept up, always beating high scores and stuff. But it does seem more consistent now that I'm reaching those higher scores, even when I don't feel that well. Like sometimes it's like I don't want to work out today. I just feel like a bum, and I do my training, my brain training, and I still hit the scores. So it's I will say that's one of the noticeable things. I don't really see an energy difference, but I am saying I was speaking to my partner actually, and I said that I don't feel like I'm getting older. So I don't know. I might be reverting. I don't know. It feels like every once in a while, I just feel like, wow, I feel like it's a couple years ago for some. It's that's the only real thing. I don't notice on a daily basis, but every once in a while, you just get one of those feelings like I just feel like kind of a kid again,
Yeah,
which
that's
is probably the best thing I could say about it.
yeah, that's fantastic. I love to hear that. So I'm gonna shift the line of questioning just a little bit at this point. I'd love to understand from you, what does quality of life look like? In other words, ultimately, what does longevity mean to you?
Oh, longevity, I mean, just more time around. I've got a lot of projects. If you saw my to-do list, you would freak out. I have so many just business projects that I'm working on and random things. Like I'm an aspiring author. I'm writing a trilogy. But my daily life, I'm a strategic consultant. So it's very different fields here. And I like to balance all that stuff out. But longevity for me is just kind of being around enough to finish all the projects I have and have a good enough quality of life where I can still do my workouts. I can still go have fun. I can go hiking and, we're going skydiving this summer, just random fun stuff like that.
Yeah, yeah, taking full advantage of the life while you have it.
Yeah. Yeah, absolutely.
It's great. So on our website, novoslabs.com, we have a free longevity quiz that gives you a score of how well your lifestyle is optimized for longevity. I'd love to ask you the first question of that quiz. It has
Sure.
to do with your personal motivation for wanting to slow down aging. So I'll read you the question as well as the answer choices. Ready?
Okay, sure.
Okay. So, what would be the most important to you if you slowed down your aging? Having more energy, living as long as possible, having a younger appearance, preventing or healing disease, and having optimal cognition.
I am quite vain, but optimal cognitive functioning is definitely number one. I want to make sure that my brain is around, but vanity's close. Looking younger is definitely close. My nieces, they're always pointing out my graying beard, so it's not great.
Oh, you should just share your rate of aging score with them. So
Yeah, I'm gonna be
they'll
younger.
yeah, you'll surpass them in terms of their rate of aging in no time. So the
That's
way
the goal.
yeah, yeah, how you're operating at this point. Dan, anything else you'd like to share about your longevity journey thus far?
Um, well, I think longevity is different. It's different for everybody, what your goals are and stuff, and how you're going to get there is going to be different too. What works for me might not work for other folks, like the cocoa powder or the shilajit, honey and bee pollen and mushroom gummies, random stuff. I think I just listen to my body and see what works. And if I notice that I'm feeling better, I keep using something, and that's basically why I'm keeping using Novos. So.
Yeah. Something you didn't reference, but honestly, just out of curiosity, again, I check out a lot of these scores and your rate of aging is so good. What does your physical exercise regimen look like?
So it varies again. I mean, just depending on how I feel, or like sometimes I go a little too hard and I get an injury, and it lasts for a little bit longer than it should because I don't stop working out. Like
Mm.
sometimes I'll my elbow will start hurting, and I'll just be like, "Man, I'll just keep working out for a couple weeks and see what happens." It doesn't get better.
Yeah.
So in general, though, I like to work out in the morning, pretty close to when I wake up, maybe about a half an hour after I wake up. I'll work out for between 45 and 90 minutes, depending on how I feel. And I generally prioritize weight training. Cardio, I mix it up probably 3 days a week with cardio. And then my routine kind of flows into like some morning chores, and I drink a shake, and then I do my brain training after that. So it's pretty consistent across the board. I have a on my to-do list, it's a daily to-do list, and I mark like how well I worked out and I track all that stuff
Mm.
and the calories for the day and all that. But yeah, my morning routine, it's probably not for everybody, but it seems to be working. That's all I can say.
And what does your nutrition look like? Do you eat the same things every day? Do you mix it up? Is there like a type of diet that you adhere to?
I I don't really adhere to anything really even now. Like this is rare, but just yesterday we went out and I just got my favorite pizza, which is a chicken finger, pineapple, jalapeno, and bacon pizza. It is a wild pizza.
That is wild.
Um, but I don't really prioritize like macros really. It's just the calories. So a lot of folks are like they listen to the whatever the BMI is, you're just going to focus on that. Or there's like weight, there's calculators for your calories. Like, oh, if you weigh this and you're this tall and you're a guy and you work out like this, you should eat this many calories. And it's usually always like 27 or 3,300 calories, depending on your exercise level. I find that to be wildly overestimated. Now, I don't have a very active career. It's generally just sitting around in the computer, just tinkering. I'll go to client offices and stuff, but my activity level outside of working out for that 45 to 90 is relatively low. So
Mhm.
I find for me, I just focus on calories and it's right around 2000 is my baseline, even with working out. So probably do some research how you feel, like eat X amount of calories every day for a few weeks and see if you fluctuate and don't change your routine up. And that's how I found out that it was between 2000 and 2200 was what my baseline was with working out. Far lower than you'd expect. I mean, I'm a big dude. It's not. I mean, you would expect it to be. I think they would put me at 2,800 for my baseline. Not even close. Not
Yeah,
even close.
yeah,
So my nutrition though, we do prioritize protein. We just love to eat protein because it fills you up, and especially when you're dealing with. I mean, for Americans, like it's hard for us to deal with 2,000 or lower. When I'm trying to cut, it's super hard to feel full at that level. Protein, it's just easy to. It's hard to fill up but it's easy to eat. So chicken, like lean meats, um, that's basically it. I don't really have a fat limit or a carb limit, as you can tell from the pizza I just devoured yesterday. So,
You know
but
what? There's food for fuel. And then I think personally, this is not Novo speaking, but on behalf of just my thoughts, there's also like a place for food for fun as well. So
absolutely.
yeah, yeah, I love that. Um, Dan, anything else you want to share about your longevity journey?
No, I think that's it.
Okay, okay, fantastic. Well, again, it was a pleasure. Thank you so much.
Thank you.